Summary of Ugly Love written by Colleen Hoover. Chapter 1. The morning sun bathed the city in a soft glow, casting long shadows across the high-rises and bustling streets of San Francisco. Tate awoke to the distant hum of traffic outside the window, her head slightly throbbing from the previous night's emotional roller coaster. Glancing over at the couch, she saw Miles still sound asleep, his troubled expression now softened in repose. Quietly slipping off the couch, Tate tiptoed into the kitchen, avoiding any noise that might disturb Miles. The clock on the wall told her it was already past 9, and Corbin was supposed to return in the morning. She grabbed her phone to check for any messages from her brother. A text from Corbin appeared on the screen, running late. "Be there in the afternoon. How's it going?" Tate sighed and contemplated whether she should update Corbin about Miles. She decided to wait until he returned and discuss the situation in person. For now, she needed a plan for the day. After fixing a simple breakfast, Tate settled down at the kitchen table with her laptop. She began searching for job listings in the area, determined to secure a position as soon as possible. As she scrolled through the postings, her thoughts kept drifting back to Miles and the mysterious Rachel. Curiosity gnawed at her, and she found herself doing an online search for any clues about Rachel. It didn't take long before she stumbled upon a profile that matched Miles's description of Rachel. There she was, Rachel Thompson, a vibrant and seemingly happy woman in various photos. Tate hesitated, debating whether she should reach out to her. However, she decided against it, realizing it wasn't her place to interfere in someone else's relationship. She closed the browser tab, determined to focus on her own priorities. The day unfolded as Tate continued her job search, occasionally glancing over at Miles, who was still peacefully sleeping on the couch. By early afternoon, he stirred awake, and Tate offered him a cup of coffee. They sat in contemplative silence, the weight of last night's emotional turmoil still lingering in the air. "Thanks for letting me crash here," Miles finally spoke, breaking the silence. Tate nodded, uncertain of how to respond. "Do you want to talk about what happened?" Miles sighed, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "It's a mess, Tate. I messed up, and I don't know if I can fix it." Tate listened as Miles opened up about the complexities of his relationship with Rachel. He explained the scars on his face, the result of a car accident that had changed everything. Rachel had been with him during the accident, and the guilt weighed heavily on Miles. "I pushed her away, Tate. I thought I was protecting her from my messed-up life, but all I did was hurt her. Now, she won't even talk to me," Miles confessed, his voice laden with regret. Tate could see the pain etched on Miles's face. It was a raw vulnerability that transcended the surface level of their brief encounter. She felt a strange connection to his story, a connection that went beyond the roles of strangers in a new city. As the day unfolded, Tate and Miles navigated the delicate balance of coexisting in the same space. Tate offered some guidance and perspective, encouraging Miles to confront his mistakes and find a way to communicate with Rachel. Hours later, just as the sun dipped below the city skyline, Corbin arrived home. He was greeted by an unexpected scene, Tate and Miles sitting on the couch, engaged in a conversation that seemed to carry the weight of shared experiences. Corbin's eyes widened in surprise, and he shot a questioning look at Tate. She stood up, ready to explain, but before she could speak, Miles rose from the couch and extended a hand towards Corbin. "I'm Miles," he introduced himself. "I appreciate your sister's help today." Corbin, still processing the situation, shook Miles's hand. "Corbin, what's going on?" Tate took a deep breath, ready to share the events of the past 24 hours with her brother. As she began recounting the night's events, she realized that in helping Miles confront his demons, she might have stumbled upon an unexpected journey of her own, one that would reshape her understanding of connections and compassion in the vibrant city of San Francisco. Over the next few days, Corbin's apartment became an unexpected haven for both Tate and Miles. Tate continued her job search during the day, while Miles grappled with the internal turmoil of his strained relationship. Corbin, initially skeptical of Miles's presence, found himself drawn into the unfolding drama. One evening, as the trio gathered in the living room, the tension was palpable. Tate suggested that Miles reach out to Rachel, emphasizing the importance of communication and closure. Corbin, despite his initial reservations, chimed in with support, recognizing the significance of healing wounds from the past. After much contemplation, Miles agreed to make the call. With bated breath, he dialed Rachel's number and waited. The room fell silent as the phone rang on the other end, each ring echoing like a heartbeat in the small apartment. Finally, Rachel answered. The conversation that ensued was a delicate dance of emotions, revelations, apologies, and the slow mending of a fractured connection. As Miles spoke, it became evident that this was a pivotal moment, not only for him but for everyone in that room. When the call ended, Miles looked up, his eyes glistening with a mix of relief and gratitude. "Thank you," he whispered, addressing Tate and Corbin. In that moment, the apartment seemed to exhale, releasing the collective tension that had gripped its occupants. It was a turning point, a testament to the power of empathy, understanding, and the unexpected bonds formed in the midst of life's challenges. As the days turned into weeks, Tate secured a job in the city, and Miles continued to work on rebuilding his relationship with Rachel. Corbin, who had initially been cautious about the intrusion into his carefully organized life, found himself appreciating the newfound camaraderie that had developed under his roof. The city of San Francisco, with its eclectic neighborhoods and diverse inhabitants, became the backdrop to this unfolding story. Tate, Miles, and Corbin navigated the maze of urban life, their individual journeys intertwining in ways they could never have anticipated. In the heart of the city's vibrant chaos, they discovered that sometimes, the most profound connections are forged in the unlikeliest of places, a lesson that would stay with them as they continued their respective paths in the ever-evolving tapestry of San Francisco's stories. Chapter 2. In the bustling halls of the high school, Miles, a senior, finds himself in unfamiliar territory, the administration office. Delivering the roll sheet to Mrs. Borden, the secretary, Miles anticipates a swift return to class. However, fate has other plans. Mrs. Borden, in the midst of a phone call, halts Miles with a question about his enrollment in Mr. Clayton's senior English class. Miles, ever obliging, offers to assist if needed. Mrs. Borden, with a nod, instructs him to wait and help a new student, Rachel, who is also enrolled in Mr. Clayton's class. Seated in the administration office, Miles reflects on his unblemished record of never being sent to the principal's office in his 4 years of high school. Though proud, a lingering disappointment gnaws at him. He contemplates the possibility of earning a detention, a rite of passage for high school males, as he has the remainder of his senior year to achieve this dubious milestone. His attention turns to his phone, secretly hoping Mrs. Borden notices and issues a detention slip. Disappointed by her lack of reaction, Miles decides to share the news of the new student with his friend, Ian. Excitement simmers in the mundane routine of high school life. As Rachel emerges from the principal's office, Miles is drawn to her presence. He describes her in poetic terms, captivated by her green eyes and red hair. The thought of her becomes a mantra, a cascade of emotions that leave him spellbound. Miles agrees to guide her to Mr. Clayton's class, all the while envisioning a future where Rachel is his. Engaging in conversation, Miles discovers Rachel is from Phoenix, Arizona, and he seizes the opportunity to express his father's business connections there. The exchange is punctuated by Rachel's enchanting smiles, leaving Miles eager to learn more about her. As they approach Mr. Clayton's classroom, Miles realizes the depth of his infatuation with Rachel. A surge of confidence propels him to open the door for her, introducing her to the class. In his mind, Rachel is already his, and he relishes the idea. Days pass, and Miles becomes obsessed with Rachel. The thought of approaching her lingers, but self-doubt and newfound insecurities plague him. He confides in Ian, acknowledging the need to rebel before graduation, perhaps by turning in late homework assignments. On a Friday, Miles decides it's now or never. Waiting by Rachel's locker, he engages her in conversation, noting the subtle changes in her skin color. As he compliments her scent, Miles musters the courage to invite her out, battling internal struggles. To his delight, Rachel reveals she has plans for the evening but suggests they meet the following day. Overwhelmed by a flood of emotions, Miles navigates the roller coaster of insecurities, relief, and excitement. He exchanges numbers with Rachel, savoring the prospect of a burgeoning connection. With plans for the next day, Miles is filled with anticipation, ready to explore the possibilities of a relationship with the enchanting Rachel.